Damn, look at that. The Airbus A350, ladies and gents, on the runway, in flames. That's crazy. That's crazy. All caught on camera. Alright, ladies and gents, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're talking about the incident that happened recently. Two planes collided in Japan on 2nd of January 2024, just after New Year, on Haneda Airport, Tokyo. Now, one of the planes was the Havilland-8, a small aircraft that was helping with aid due to the earthquake in Japan that happened recently. And then the other one was the big Airbus A350. The Airbus A350 was landing and it crashed into the Dash 8, which had a runway incursion. This Dash 8 went into the runway allegedly when it wasn't supposed to do so. So let's just take a look at this article right here. All right, so this is from Reuters. 5 people passed away after the crash, and those 5 were in the Dash 8, the smaller aircraft, while the miracle was in this incident that from the Airbus A350, the larger airliner, everybody survived, the passengers and the crew, which is great news. So as we can see here, all 367 passengers and 12 crew were evacuated from the blazing airliner, but a fire was not extinguished until shortly after midnight. However, the only survivor in the Dash 8 was the 39-year-old captain of the plane, escaped but not injured. So the small aircraft, the Dash 8, one survivor, and the bigger one, the Airbus A350, everybody survived, fortunately. There has been no reports of engine or problems on the airliner before the landing. It was basically, as they say, a runway incursion by the Dash 8. So something went wrong over there. Now, probably it's going to be a big, huge investigation that's going to come soon. We're just going to wait for that to happen. Meanwhile, they say this was a miracle. Passengers and aviation experts praise the speed of evacuation. And they say here the cabin crew did an excellent job. It was a miracle that all passengers got off. This is the full video basically of what happened on the runway. As soon as the plane landed, it just crashed into the smaller Dash 8. You cannot even see the smaller plane in this footage. It was basically evaporized, I guess, most of it on the runway. And this was at Haneda Airport in Japan, Tokyo. Now, obviously, we have footage and reports of the incident everywhere on the internet, and we're just going to take a look at this this footage right here, because this footage is from inside the cabin of the Airbus A350. As you guys can see, I'm just going to put a bit of sound to it. This is crazy, and I can just imagine what the passengers at that very moment felt and how it was to experience this live. You're just having a normal landing and all of a sudden there's fire, there's smoke, there's noise, landing gear collapse, screeching fire on the runway. Absolutely crazy. But to be noticed here, the passengers kept calm. This is one of the most interesting things when it comes to this incident. The passengers were calm, collected. The cabin crew, they took action, and it's a lot to dissect here. First of all, we have to mention the fact that Japanese people, they have an amazing society, right? A society in which everything is ordered, in which everything has rules, in which people are understanding of each other, and it's quite a nice society. I always like to go to Japan. I like to travel to Japan. And I think they're very, very, very civilized. Probably the most civilized country in the world, to be honest. And you can see this in this evacuation. Like, people were evacuating the aircraft, and you can see the order in which they were evacuating, right? We're gonna take a look at that footage in just a moment's time. You have a comment right here. Still stunned how the crew managed to evacuate all 379 passengers in such a short period of time. Kudos to them. That's not an easy task. As a flight attendant, I can tell you that's not an easy task. we have to shout, seatbelts off, leave everything, come this way. We open the door in the armed mode, and then we have to evacuate the passengers and be careful not to be thrown out of the plane ourselves while we are evacuating the passengers. So for everybody that thinks that the job of a flight attendant is just chicken and beef and it's just tea or coffee, there's so much more to it, and people unfortunately nowadays, they don't really respect that as much as they should. And then you have incidents like this where your training kicks in. What you did in the training academy as a flight attendant kicks in, and you start to think and you start to act accordingly to whatever your training was. You cannot really praise enough Japan Airlines for this. This is a great training, great cabin crew, and an amazing action by them. This one comes from The Guardian. Let's just see what's happening here. So this is the footage once more.
正直その生きた心地はしなかったですね。こう着陸するときに結構強い揺れがあって、でこう気がついて窓を見るとこう火花が散ってて燃えていて、その後
This is another angle of the aircraft, almost coming to a complete stop as far as I can see here.
そうですね。停止してから1分ないぐらいで煙が充満してきて、
In less than 1 minute, the cabin was full of smoke. Smoke, ladies and gents, smoke is a killer, even more so than the fire. All those fumes, those toxic fumes that you inhale, absolutely killer. So what does that mean? That means the evacuation has to be speed up. You have to evacuate that plane very rapidly. You see, due to the smoke, I could not see the front.
ちょっと前の方見えなくて、でもこう前の方はどうやら開いていてスロープも降りてるみたいな。
I sensed the front door was open and the slide was down. Obviously, the cabin crew right there, they did an amazing job. They opened the door as soon as possible. I believe the captain gave the order by PA. Usually this is how it goes. But at that very point, this is structural damage. So the cabin crew have the authorization to open the doors without the captain directly telling them to because of the structural damage. So yeah, that has to be done in a timely manner, definitely.
ところで前の方から行こうとしたんですけど、こう人が結構いて、前の方は無理だっていうことで待っていたら、後ろの方がこうスロープ降りて、
Another slide came down in the back.
で、そこから降りて。
Because you see, that's the problem. Many times if slides open and people see only that slide, then the crowd goes that way. And then, you know, it's really hard to organize that evacuation. But if you deploy all the slides, then there is a higher chance that everybody evacuates in a timely manner. This is what's important here, guys. Seconds, minutes. This can cost lives. I was talking about the Japanese being civilized. Well, one of the things that they are doing in this evacuation in particular is that they are actually leaving their bags. They're not taking their bags with them. And I cannot stress this enough as a flight attendant. Ladies and gents, please, if there's any time you'll have an incident, you forget your bags, your passport doesn't matter anymore, your laptop doesn't matter anymore, forget that hat track, you have to get out of the plane. And the problem is, if you don't do that, you take your bag, other passengers are waiting for you to take it, seconds become minutes, and then
逃げたって感じです。叫び声とか CA さんの方も結構。
The cabin attendant was leading us with a loud voice. That is very, very important. They have to speak up loudly. They have to be heard in all that commotion, in all that trouble. They need to be heard, right? They need to be able to transmit that command to the passengers, and the passengers, they have to hear that command. It's very important. So we are trained in the academy, for example, to shout really loud while doing an evacuation. And if we don't shout loud enough, we can be dinged and we can fail the exam, basically, the practical exam.
聞こえて、誘導なさってて、やっぱり叫び声みたいなのはありましたが、比較的落ち着いて皆さん
Most people were calm. This is so important. And Guys, this is so important. This saves lives, right? Being calm, did not stand up from their seats, but kept sitting and waiting. So the passengers, they waited first for the cabin crew to open the doors, and then they went for it when the cabin crew shouted the commands. Man, Japanese society, this is the peak of Japanese society right here. Being organized, listening carefully to the commands, and this can save your life, basically.
席立たずに座って待っていたので、スムーズに避難できた。
Okay, you can see in this footage, they are going down the escape slide. And at the same time, you can see the structural damage on that wing and on that engine. The engine is absolutely dragged on the landing strip. And of course, it's on fire. Everything is on fire. There's no more landing gear. Crazy. This is the first accident that ever happened to an Airbus A350. It's a new plane. Those planes are recently out of the factory, right? It's one of the most highly advanced aircraft in the world.
できたかなと思います。一応そのスマートフォンだけポケット
This is the footage of the aircraft a few hours later. The flames just engulfed everything. So the aircraft is absolutely pulverized, on fire, destroyed. Imagine what happened if they didn't evacuate in the timely manner. Imagine how important it was that they left their bags in the plane and didn't carry their bags with them, and they listened to the crew instructions. They saved themselves.
で持ってたので、スマートフォンだけ持って、それ以外の荷物は多分すべて燃えてしまう。
Yeah, this passenger says it right here. Everything else was burned. Everything else I had was burned, I think. Of course, and it's fine because you got away with your life, which is the most important thing.
しまってるかなと。
Wow.
飛行機乗ると初めにこう避難のビデオとか流れると思うんですけど、そういうのはやっぱりしっかり見て、やっぱ頭に入れとくべきだなっていうのは本当に改めて思いましたね。
It's really a shame that those people stranded in the Dash 8 in the smaller aircraft, they didn't manage to survive. Obviously, Airbus A350 just landed on top of them, so obviously the chances of survival are minimal. But it's such a miracle that everybody in this plane survived, so big props to the cabin crew. As a colleague of yours, obviously for a different airline, I have you in my best regards, biggest praises to you. You are heroes, guys. You are heroes. And you saved all those 360 plus people. Absolutely amazing job. Ladies and gents, this was the footage I had at this very moment. This is what I had to work with. If more footage comes, if there's updates, maybe I'll make another video on this incident. Absolutely shocking. I never expected this can happen just after New Year. Imagine all those people and their families starting the year like this. Absolutely crazy, but nevertheless, a miracle that they got out alive. And well, such an important thing that you actually watch that safety video before you depart on your scheduled departure. When you go for a flight, watch that safety video, listen to the cabin crew, what they are saying to you, what they're telling you during the flight, before the flight. And yeah, that can save your life ultimately. What do you guys think about this incident? Please let me know in the comments section down below. It's a tragic loss as well, unfortunately, and kudos to Japan Airlines for this. I guess more details will be coming soon, but obviously it's going to be a big investigation. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. See you guys on the next one.